All right, let's go to our guest now. In today's high-speed digital world, our instant gratification or right now culture is reshaping our brains, but not necessarily in a good way. Our next guest, Dr. Emilio Justo, has a new book titled The Power of Pause Mastering Delayed Gratification for Success. Dr. Justo, welcome to Daily Flash.
Thank you so very much, Andrea. It's a delight to be here. Thank you.
Boy, this is a relevant topic now more than ever. Why is it so important for our brains to take a pause?
Oh boy, it is. I think it's critically important because, our brains now in this instant gratification epidemic that we have, we're constantly checking our phones, scrolling through social media, etc. And our brain is just being influxed with these dopamine hits all the time. And so we just don't have the time to slow down, to process, to have that cognitive behavior going on to really weigh our decision making. So I think it's just critically important to pause. I mean, think about it, Andrea. Every athlete pauses before he makes a move, right? Every wonderful financial investor waits. And as a surgeon myself, I need to pause before I make that first incision. So pausing is not inactivity. It's not laziness. It's strategic. And most importantly, it's intentional and deliberate.
That's a great point. It reminds me of the old adage, measure twice, cut once kind of thing. And it's
Yes.
so important that we do take a pause and maybe put the phones down for maybe a couple of hours or even walk away for a day if possible. What are some simple daily habits that can retrain our brain from this instant gratification?
Well, just as you said, first, I call it the intentional delay. What does that mean? Well, that means something like as simple as, when you feel motivated that you need to reach out for that phone, is just stop and pause and maybe wait 15 seconds, 30 seconds. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. It just means that you're retraining the neural pathways in your brain to, to be disciplined and not jump to instant gratification, if you will. By having that micro delay, that micro pause, you're basically telling your brain that you're in control, that impulse isn't controlling you, but that you're in control. So that intentional delay is great. Another little trick is just the breath, right? So when you have something that stresses you, inhale, big inhale, and then a slow exhale. And then think about what you're about to do. Don't react instantaneously. And we've all done it, of course, right? We get a nasty text or email and we want to respond right away. But no, pause, think about it, let that emotion settle.
Yeah.
Statistics show us that within 90 seconds or so, if you wait, that peak emotion will settle, and then we can think more rationally and make the appropriate decision.
That's great advice. You've created 5-minute patient builders to use in the moment. We want to get to these. The first one is the 5-minute rule.
Right. And that goes along kind of like what I was just saying, that basically when you have a trigger is just wait 5 minutes, just 5 simple minutes. And typically in those 5 minutes, the emotion will go down. And it can be something as simple as, you're at the mall, right? And you get sucked in because you want to buy something that's really expensive.
Guilty.
And you have to think about it, right?
Yeah.
And so if you just wait those 5 minutes and think to yourself, okay, will my future self thank me, right? When I think in the future, if I make this purchase, will I be grateful in retrospect that I had made this purchase? So give yourself 5 minutes, and that will really kind of even things out, and your brain can really process it more clearly.
Yeah, I call that my 24-hour rule. I have to wait 24 hours before I make a purchase like that. I know we briefly touched on these before, but I want to make sure we get them in as reminders. You also mentioned the breath work and micro discomfort and how to deal with those.
Yes, discomfort, I think, is actually a good thing, right? We try to avoid discomfort, but really, what are we doing when we're scrolling through social media? That we're actually taking away that discomfort, and we're constantly inundating our brain, as I mentioned earlier, with those dopamine hits. But if you just pause and give yourself that discomfort of even of boredom, right?
Yeah.
Boredom seems to have a negative connotation in our society, but that boredom, that friction is where mastery occurs, right? Or think about
True.
when we have those breakthrough moments. Is it when we're speeding around trying to make rash decisions? No, those breakthrough moments come when we're in the shower, when we're walking around the block, when we're just simply sitting there quietly. And I think quiet is the key.
Yeah.
I see so many young kids who, study with all this music in the background, and they say, oh, well, this is what helps me relax. Well, I don't know. I kind of challenge that idea because I think having stillness and quiet is really better for the brain to process things more clearly.
Dr. Justo, we'll have to leave it at that. For more information and to get a copy of the book, The Power of Pause, please visit DrEmilioJusto.com. Thank you so much. We're going to make sure we post this interview on our website at dailyflashshow.com. Some great advice.
I love what he had said too about we have to be uncomfortable, and I've followed that. Is that that's the only time we grow, because it's either pain or gain if you really do something. That pain helps out. Great advice there.